Well, we're getting caffeinated here this morning. Therese is helping us out. Hi, thanks for having us here today.
Hey, it's my pleasure.
Hey, Sip and Savor, I got to say, the ambiance right when you walk in, it feels like a place that people can really gather and have some conversation, some fun.
Indeed. So we're about where coffee and community meet. So great coffee, community, let's meet.
Here we are. I like that.
Are.
You guys have been open for 5 years.
2013.
What keeps the place going?
The ambiance, the experience. You know, my baristas are very kind, nice. We base ourselves on the 5 C's: crisp, clean, classy, consistent.
Your baristas
service.
are hiding behind the
hide.
coffee bar, though. Come over here and wave, guys. You're talking about your baristas. They're hiding behind the machine there. Give a little wave here, guys. How y'all doing?
Chris, that's Marielle. So, yeah, they're very kind, and they're very nervous about cameras in their face. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about this drink here because it's the Java Jam today, right? It's a special for today. What's in this sucker?
So it's really our caramel royale. It's 2 shots of espresso, your choice of steamed milk, soy skim, or 2%. Then we top it with whipped cream, and then we put some caramel syrup and some caramel sauce. It's low fat.
That's awesome. Low fat. That's important for me there. Okay, so in a little bit, you mentioned community bringing people together. We got a great lineup of guests here that are going to be joining us. We're going to talk with an organization, Options for Youth, and then Reverend Jesse Jackson's coming by later. That's pretty big stuff.
Through. Hey, we'd like for him to sip with us.
Yeah, well, sip and savor, exactly. All right, we're going to toss it back to the studio, but I want you guys to judge us on something. We like our sock game here,
Yeah,
so who wins? Who wins the
People
sock
that
game?
know
Wow, he wins.
Hey,
Those are
judge the
both
sock
good.
game.
The guy from the coffee shop.
Man, that looks like a tie.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
I'm voting for Jon Hansen. He's my fave.
I'm giving a tie.
All right. Oh, a tie. Okay. The most important thing, and Felicia, you'll be coming. It's wonderful, but we're talking to community organizations all morning today, talking more about just the coffee, but bringing people together. And I got 2 wonderful people from Options for Youth. Why don't you walk us through the organization? But what do you guys do?
Options for Youth is a community-based organization that helps to increase options for young people who don't have options. We work with 2 groups of adolescents: first-time young mothers who have a baby before age 18, and young men growing up in the most underserved and dangerous neighborhoods in the city. We help these young people take the first step to break the cycle of poverty in their young lives by graduating from high school.
And that is a very important first step and one that really sets them up for a future. And you mentioned 2 very vulnerable groups of people. And Luciano, we were talking about the men specifically. You really focus on identifying what manhood is in 2018. Yes. and how people we can be better examples for our young men in the community.
Yes. So I run a program called What's Up with Manhood, and it's showing them different ideas of what is a man. They have a lot of negative input, either sometimes at home, unfortunately, what they see on the streets, going to school, even social media and what's on TV. So we're showing them a healthier version of what a man is, a person who can talk, compassion, and that you can be this, you can change who you are.
Just see what's in the horizon.
Exactly, because they all have a future. They just have to see it. But unfortunately, what they see is all negative. I want them to see a positive version of what a man is. Not what a man can be, but what it is.
Options for Youth, the number 4.org, right, for people to get more information?
Yes.
And that's a great way to get back, probably be part of the community.
Yes, we can't do everything these kids need, so we need all the help we can get. Yeah. Options for Youth. All
right, that's great, guys, and it's a wonderful. You live nearby. You come to Sip and Savor all the time.
I do. Actually, my gym is upstairs.
Oh, right here. You gonna go there after this? All right. Yeah, we got quite a guest here. We got Betty. We got Jesse Jackson here. Reverend, thank you so much for joining us. And I wanted to talk with you about getting out the vote. Early voting started in Chicago on Monday. Men like you, women like in your organization have pushed for people to be able to vote in this country. How important is it?
It's a big deal. You know, in 1965, African Americans for the first time in 100 years got the right to vote. But white women couldn't be serving jurors in the South. 18-year-olds couldn't vote those serving in Vietnam. You couldn't vote on college campuses at that time. You couldn't vote bilingually. So all that has changed. Now we have an early vote, which means that all those who are 18 years old or will be by November high school seniors can register and vote now. Betty Magnus is leading that drive at Rainbow Push. All those college students, if you go to NIU or SIU, you can actually register and vote where you attend school.
Right.
Which is what you should do. That's happening now. And then also, many people fret going to booth literacy challenges. You always have the right to take someone in the booth with you. You always have the right to take someone in the booth. So the advantage of early voting, if there's any voter schemes, you can determine early on if you must make an adjustment. You can't do it Tuesday to 6. It's a little too late.
Yeah, it sounds like one of the important things you're saying is know your rights before you go in that booth and know that you have the absolute right to vote.
And there are many schemes. For example, in Florida, in Georgia, Stacey, she's running against a guy who is he is the referee and the scorekeeper.
Secretary of State.
The Secretary of State, he is the referee and the scorekeeper. So he determines who can and who cannot vote. That's corrupted. You have a case in Florida where Gillum's running a great race. They're putting these mean, despicable ads on telephonics to stereotype him and discourage people from voting. Same is happening in Texas. And so in spite of that, if we vote our numbers and I hope and not our fears, good things will come our way. I thought the Laquan McDonald case, I contrasted with Trayvon Martin. Trayvon Martin had like 5,000 outside but not registered. They were hoping that they'd get a good verdict. They did not. In Chicago, we had registered. We appeared on only those who were registered can serve on the jury. So the power was in the 12, not in the 12,000. It was in the 12. Only those who were registered vote can be in the 12. And so we're learning the process as we go.
Yeah, you mentioned learning the process, and you mentioned Georgia, you mentioned Florida, a case where 2 African-American potential governors in the South. You spent a lot of time in the South. What would that mean for not only Georgia, not only Florida, but for the whole country?
It'd be a victory for everybody in the sense that it means that Latinos, it means that the women, it means that young people will have it. You expand the process. Too few people have had too much power for too long. We must democratize access to voting. And you cannot have a state like Georgia and turn away Medicaid, $10 billion in the South. And they say, well, it's socialism. If socialism is government control, the interstate highway is social, the airport, the seaport, the universities, the penitentiaries, the military. So that's just another way of trying to undermine people's spirit. But what I like about this is, as Dr. King would often say, we have the right to fight for the right. On November 6th can be a jubilee day for America. If you don't like what's happening, a lot that's happening that we should not like. On this white race supremacy, which is so debilitating, we can fight at the polls November the 6th.
November the 6th, and you can vote now. Get out to vote. Rev, thank you for your time. But we said earlier we were just going to have to say ditto, but really quickly,
Ditto.
Rainbow Push, you're doing a lot of important work.
Right, and what's really important is if you go into the voting booth on November 6th and you have a problem, you can call us at Rainbow Push. You can call 866-OUR-VOTE. These are places where you can go, and do not leave the polling place. Stay in there and make your phone call and call us and let us know what your problem is.
We really appreciate your time. Men and women have fought for the right to vote. People have died for the right to vote. So exercise your right to vote no matter which way you vote on this election. That's been a real good community morning here. We've been having a lot of great guests. And Trez, I mean, that's what you love about Hyde Park, right? We're bringing everyone together.
Indeed. I love Hyde Park. The diversity, all the bars, the eatery, and, of course, the great coffee spot.
I saw your eyes light up when you said bars there. You also serve a little booze here too, right?
Indeed. We have a liquor license here at this location, so if you want to spice up your coffee, throw a little something in there, let's do that.
Not for my drive home, though, of course.
No.
I'll come by later.
Indeed.
All right, so you're over at 5301 South Hyde Park Boulevard. It's a great opportunity, and guess what? Felicia Lawrence is going to be coming on. She's going to come here around 8:30 this morning. She's coming straight from the show. She'll be here for an hour, so please, coffee with the jam. Come meet Felicia. We've been meeting folks all morning long. Trez, thanks so much for having us here this morning. We really appreciate it.
Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you.
And obviously, you guys got a lot of options here for coffee, and today, the Java Jam, right?
Java Jam. Come in and get it.
All right.
Delicious.